Hey everybody, Tony D here with another Fat Guy Eats video. For those of you wanting to tune in for my script writing things, I know, don't worry, we're still doing scripts, but I want to mix it up a little bit and get some restaurant reviews in here, which I also do at Superfrat, which you can see at superfrat.com, or you can come here wherever you're watching on YouTube or BitChute. Okay, let's get into it. Today's restaurant on Fat Guy Eats, the Phily Diner. Why is it called the Phily Diner, not the Philly Diner? Well, if you go to the place in Runnemede, the sign has only one L. P-H-I-L-Y, Phily. The Phily Diner, a lot of people call it the Philly Diner, is in Runnemede, right there on 168 across from the gas station. It's a huge place. It has a diner and a sports bar. They added the sports bar later. It's a very successful place, I imagine. There's also a big giant car lot behind the Phily. So let's get into it. The food. It is diner food and sports bar food, which, you know, there's a lot of overlap there already. Classic diner food, of course, you can get breakfast anytime. That's the whole purpose of a diner. You usually get nice big salads. That's usually a very dinery thing, and sandwiches. I like to get the club sandwiches at the Phily. They do have decent Italian food. I will give them that. Most diners, the Italian food is only, it's okay. I would give some decent props to the Phily for doing fairly decent Italian food. Now, I wouldn't go to the Phily for Italian food over, you know, a good Italian restaurant in my area, but if I wanted Italian food and I happened to be at the Phily, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I went with my nephew. We were coming out of a Magic card tournament, and he only eats certain things. So he had some raviolis, and he liked them. He thought they were good. I had the roast beef club, which was roast beef on toasted rye with sliced provolone cheese, lettuce, tomato, and bacon and mayo. It was like a horseradish mayo. I couldn't really taste the horseradish. I guess it wasn't that spicy, but it was good. Came with a pickle, fries. We also got French onion soup, and I got a side salad as well. And, of course, unsweetened iced tea, which is my go-to beverage. And the Phily has really good iced tea. That's a huge plus in my book. Now, the price, it's a little higher than normal. It depends on what you order, but, and here's the but, the Phily will give you extras. So with a lot of the meals, you get free soup or free salad or a free side. They have cookies at the front door, which you can just take a cookie or two, whatever you want. So you get a little extra, so I can be okay with that extra $1 or $2. It's not like a huge price difference. The only thing that kind of annoyed me in the past was they had a weird thing with the menus, because they have a menu for the sports bar, a menu for the diner, a late night menu for the diner, and then like a daytime menu, I guess. So it does get confusing sometimes depending on when you go. If you get the wrong menu or you're expecting one price and they up the price or something by $1, it's weird. For a while, I know they had an issue where I sat down and they gave us two menus. One from the sports bar, because it had a few things on it the diner didn't have, but you could order them. And then, you know, the regular menu. And then there was a price difference on a couple of the items, which was very strange. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I think they resolved the issue. I didn't have that problem this time around. But it's not a huge thing. Portions, good, very decent, pretty big. The taste, really good. I really enjoyed my sandwich. Fries are really good. The only weird thing with the Phily right now is they don't have Heinz ketchup anymore. The Phily, the Meadow, and another couple of restaurants locally got together in South Jersey, and they formed their own, I don't know what you call it, coalition, I guess. And they've decided to go with a locally produced ketchup which I guess they make or have a stake in, I'm not sure. So they're using a local ketchup, which I support, you know, from a purely like support the local guy thing, but it tastes different from Heinz. So I do prefer Heinz still, but you know, it's okay. It's not great. It's like kind of getting Hunt's when you want Heinz, if you know that difference. You know, I've been meaning to go to one of these diners and bring my own ketchup packets, but I always forget. Oh, and Ponzio's. Ponzio's is in that realm too, and that kills me because when I go to Ponzio's, I want the food to be perfect, and because it's so high end, and then to get their weird locally produced ketchup kind of throws me off. But what are you gonna do? The service. The service at the Phily is really good. I've never had a problem. I think one time, and I've been there a lot, like one time I had a waitress with an attitude, but you know, definitely not this time. Our waitress was totally on it. She was a little swamped, so it took a little longer than normal, but I didn't fault her for that at all. It was pretty busy. There were a lot of people, and you know, this was kind of like a peak time. It was about 8 o'clock at night when we went, so I was cool with it. The atmosphere, it is a classic diner, you know, or faux 50s diner, I should say. You know, that they built a lot of these in New Jersey. It's all chrome. It looks like, the whole building looks like a giant jukebox, basically. I think that's what the decor they were going for, actually. I think they actually said, let's build it like a giant jukebox. Do they have a jukebox? I think they do, somewhere. I know they got like a 50s car outside, and they've got, you know, like pictures of Elvis and stuff like that. For me, that decor just sort of, that just melts into the background. It doesn't really bother me one way or another. It's brightly lit. I like a place to be brightly lit because I can see if it's clean and I can see my food. I don't like going to dark restaurants. I never understood the appeal of that. I guess if you're on a date and you want to kind of, you know, want that forgiving lighting situation, but I like a nice brightly lit restaurant, and the Phily is lit brightly. The only downside of the atmosphere, and this is a pretty minor one, but I'll just mention it, because it's connected to a sports bar, and they literally don't have a wall between the sports bar and the diner. It's almost like one long extended room. On Friday and Saturday nights when the sports bar is like crazy busy, if there's like a sports game on or they have a band, it does, the noise does spill over into the diner. Now, I'm not usually there when that happens, so it's usually not an issue for me, but it's something you should be aware of if you're going to the Phily, you know, on a Friday or Saturday. If you're looking for a quiet place, you may want to hit a different diner because it's not going to be quiet. It's going to be like going to a sports club or a sports bar at, like, you know, on a Friday, and those are pretty crazy. But the nice thing about it is you can get a lot of that sports bar food, and, you know, what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll ask the waitress to sit us like as far away from the sports bar as possible so we don't have to hear that. And honestly, it's not even that bad. You know, the few times I was there and it was a Friday, it wasn't that bad. So overall, I love the Phily. It's one of my local places. I go there all the time. It's more of a, for me, it's more of one of those places I go to when it's convenient and it's the closest place and I want to go to a diner. You know, I don't want to go to, say, you know, we went there because pizzerias, you know, right around 8 o'clock, pizzerias start to wind down. A lot of them are still open till 9 or 10, but, you know, in the middle of the week or even on a weekend when pizza places start to wind down, they start mopping the floor and, like, they're not expecting people to come in. So I don't like to go to a pizzeria that late, only because, you know, I've done that and then they're mopping the floor and you're like eating while you're smelling ammonia. And I don't like that. Whereas in diners, you know, they keep a level of the atmosphere to a point that I like. You know, the Phily is, it's got a decent atmosphere. It's clean, which is the main thing. And it's, you know, it's inviting. It's an inviting place. I like to have, a place that has tons of food, and there's always like cool cakes and stuff that you could get if you're in the mood for a slice of cake or a piece of pie or whatever. Because I'm a food guy, and that's what I love. So go to the Phily Diner. On a scale, on the kegger scale, I would give it 8.5 keggers easily. I'd have to dock it for the ketchup, and the parking lot can be a little wonky. It's a small parking lot for when it gets busy. If it gets busy, you have to park across the street, which is a real hassle. I've only had to do that like twice all the times I've been there, but still kind of really annoying. But it's not the end of the world. I mean, better you find a good place and have to park a little distance than to eat at a bad place and park conveniently. That's what I say. So go to the Phily Diner, 8.5 keggers out of 10. This has been Fat Guy Eats. This fat guy has eaten. I hope you do too. And we'll see you next time.